Hey everybody! Welcome to the Love of the Dark Fiber Arts podcast. It's a podcast about the fiber arts and knitting and spinning and other arts too, as they come up. I'm your host Zira, and I can be found on Ravelry and Etsy as Love of the Dark, as well as Deviantart, Love of the Dark on Deviantart as well. I'm on Blogspot as Darkly Domestic, and Instagram I'm ZZZIRAAA. If you want my other social media info, you can find it in my Ravelry profile. So check it out. If you're a fiber artist, or even if you just are a knitter and that's all you do with fiber, and you haven't found Ravelry yet, seriously, do yourself a favor and go to Ravelry.com. It is the most amazing website. It's kind of like Facebook, only for fiber arts people. And if you don't want another stinking social media website, you don't have to take part in any of the community stuff if you don't want to. But there, the pattern and the yarn database there is worth it just for that. There are so many amazing patterns on Ravelry. Many of them are free. So it doesn't cost you anything to check it out, and it's really, really worth it. And then, maybe you'll make some new friends along the way too. It's a really great place for that as well. I'd like to thank any returning viewers for coming and checking me out again. It means a lot to me. And if you're a new viewer, hi, I'm Zira. I'm kind of a goof. Welcome. I hope you have a good time. At this point, there's only a few videos up, so you've got plenty of time to kind of go back and catch up on my brand of crazy if you feel like it. Also, if I look a little weird and washed out today, it's because in my neck of the woods, the cottonwoods are blooming, and I can't stop itching my face. My eyeballs are weepy and itchy, and I cannot have anything on them because otherwise I look like a raccoon or Tammy Faye Baker. So anyway, let's see. Things to share. First of all, a little bit of information. There are probably several different companies. Oh, and I just realized I moved my footstool, so I've got nothing to put my feet on. Oh, I feel so awkward. Anyway, there's several different groups of people and companies that will offer sort of grab bags of fiber, like leftover mill ends and leftover bits and bobs from, different things or whatever. And some of them have been okay, some of them have been really awful. There's been a couple of times when I've ordered from a different company and it's been like, one or two chunks of I don't know, Corriedale top or something like that. And then the rest of it has been like tiny little pieces of, pre-felted madness in like just really dirty looking, like it looked like they swept it up off the floor and stuffed it in a bag for me. And so I haven't done that for a while, but I went on Amazon the other day and this particular company or person, I guess, had such amazing reviews from like everybody and pictures. People would send pictures in with their review going, oh my God, this is what I got. So I went ahead and I ordered 3 bags, and the bags are 3.5 ounces each, and they're right around $6. I want to say they're like $6.25 or something like that. They're less than $7. And I thought, I'm going to buy 3 of them. For 18 bucks, even if it's not that great, I can still do something with it, and I'm not going to be disappointed. Holy crap. So unfortunately, I've already gone through all of the bags and separated them out into like colors because I like to organize my wools by color. I really wish that I had waited to do an unveiling or, a package opening kind of a video. I will be ordering from these guys again, and I will do that next time, I promise. First of all, 3.5 ounces of fiber, and there were no little bits in there. These were all chunks, I would say no less than a foot long, but some of them were like doubled and tripled. There were pieces of beautiful, brightly colored different kinds of wool. There's some wool with maybe some linen in it. It's all mix and match, and it is all leftovers, but they're really significant pieces. Each piece that you get, you can get a really good feel for how that's going to spin up. You can blend it really well. I made something awesome that I'll show you in a little bit out of some of what I got. But anyway, let me get on to the name of the company, because I know you're like, just tell us what it is. So the company is Goats Magosh. So it's goats, like Goats, Magosh, goats magosh. It's wool offcuts, bits and ends from combed top, assorted fibers and colors. So you never know what you're going to get, but it's always going to be good. Every picture I found has been awesome, and mine, I was just like, I can't even, look at this and look at this. Holy crap. Just about lost my gourd over that. Super excited about that company. Goats Magosh on Amazon.com. I don't know, maybe they have an Etsy store too. I don't know. But on Amazon for sure. They exist. And they are awesome. Super cool. So let's see. Finished. Oh, I have some finished objects. They're not knitted, but I'll show you what they are. So speaking of Goats Magosh, lots of color in these bags. Lots of color. Now, I don't know that every bag is going to have lots of color, but the bags I got had lots of color. So much color that I went ahead and made some Fag Hag Rollags. Because, oh my god, how queer is that? It's like the best thing ever. Look! It's a rainbow. It's a rainbow. This one's kind of poofy at one end here. Doodly-doodly-doo. Oh my god, every color of the rainbow. And I know it's a little washed out. However, there are really good true to color images on my Etsy account. That one got a little fuzzy. That you can go and see. And you can just see their marvelousness there. I have to have my camera a little bit washed out, otherwise my hair blows everything out and you can't see anything. So this gives you an idea. My Etsy will give you a much better idea. And they're so soft. There's some merino in there. There's some silk. I used some of my sparkle. It's, yeah, good times. And then my next finished object is some hand spun. Pretty. I got that new, the new art flyer for my, I'm sorry, I've got wool in my mouth now. The new art flyer for my Luette spinning wheel. And I made some pretty, beautiful yarn. It's got little textural details. It's got some little nubbies and some coils. And, oh, hold it still, Z. Here, I'm going to try and hold it still so you can see. Focus. There we go. And again, it's kind of washed out. I might be putting this up on my Etsy. I might not. I don't know. I might save it for myself. We'll see. Just check there and you'll see if it is or not. So pretty. So pretty. There's like silk sari. And then I applied it with a beautiful, very fine silk, a hand-dyed silk thread that I got in a swap. Yay, I'm so pleased with this stuff, you guys. It's not even quite dry yet. It's still damp. So anyway, let's see. Moving on. Oh, there's 68 yards there too. I forgot to mention that. I'm trying to do better notes. So if it looks like I'm reading, it's because I am. Okay, let's see. Oh, works in progress. Okay. So, first of all, a couple of months ago, the yarn hoarder, Amber Lindemann on Ravelry, held a swapless swap in her group. And it was the Yarn Enabler 40 yard swapless swap. So you got 10 skeins, 10 mini skeins of 40 yards each. So 400 yards, so really good amount of yarn. And I flipped over them. They were so great, and I showed them to you, and it was very great. Oh, what did I do? I hold on. I'm sorry. I screwed up my, there it is. Okay. I rebigulated it and it got really huge and then I couldn't see what was going on. So anyhow, I flipped over these mini skeins. They were absolutely gorgeous and beautiful. But you know, what are you going to do with like a 40 yard mini skein? And they're all such different colors. So I don't know. I guess there's lots of stuff you could do with them. There's the Hexie Puffs and the Scrappy Blankets and the Sock Yarn Blankets and all this kind of stuff. But I thought, no, I want to do something fun. So what I did is I took each 40 yard skein and I cut it in half in the middle so that I had 20 yards in 2 different piles. And I did this with all of the skeins, and then I tied them end to end in the same order, and I wound them into skeins. I tied them in magic knots, so they're not going to come apart. So this is what I ended up with. And this is actually showing up bluer than it is. It's much more of a plum, kind of a purple on the outside. But just to kind of give you an idea, it starts kind of in the middle and it goes out and it changes, and it's like this is the inception of yarns, because most of these yarns are self-stripers. So it's like self-striper within a self-striper. It's like you're in a dream. It's kind of amazing. But what am I going to make? Now I've got 2 equal skeins. Socks! Oh my god. Okay. This is ridiculous. Gonna show you my sock. Look at this ridiculousness. This is really tall already. But it's going to be a very tall sock. And I'm going to knit all the way to the end with the yarn, and then I'm going to add a black toe and a black afterthought heel. Oh my god. Oh my god. You guys, look at that. It's just, I love this one. I want to order some of that, whatever that was. I got to figure it out. That one's pretty. They're all so beautiful. And they're so wonky, and they totally don't go together. But that's the point. Like they're going to be matchy-matchy, which will make them go together. Oh my god, socks. Yeah, super excited. So I'm using that is the Smooth Operator sock pattern by Susan B. Anderson on Ravelry, and it's a free pattern. It's a top-down pattern, which I like the top-down patterns. I haven't really found a bind-off that's stretchy enough for me, so I feel like my cast-on is super stretchy. Like that'll just stretch for days, and it's just a regular long-tail cast-on. But yeah, my bind-offs are never that stretchy. So there's that. I'm gonna on the heel, I think I'll use the Kirby Werby heel pattern, which a lot of people have talked about. I've never actually done that kind of a heel, but I'm super excited. It looks really easy and it looks really nice. So I'm super excited. I think Kirby Werby can be found on YouTube. I'm going to have to look it up. I just know lots of people are talking about it right now. So aside from that, I've got my my goldfish memory that I'm still working on. I showed you that last week. I've probably knit about 3 inches on it since I showed you. And it's now like this next section that we're moving into is starting this really cool little pattern. Come on, focus. Well, anyway. So like every few, there we go. It's going to be neat. I'm excited about this pattern still. Super excited about it. It's a paid for pattern by Casapinka, and I would totally buy it again. I really, really like it. I just stopped working on it for the last couple of days because I started this yesterday, this sock. I got really excited about it, as you can tell. So I put my shawl down for a minute, but I'll pick it up again today. Anyway, yeah, that's it for patterns. That's it for works and projects, or works in project. Process. Jesus, what is wrong with my tongue today? Having a brain fart. It's the freaking allergies. I tell you what, it messes with my brain. It's not just my eyes and my nose and the back of my throat. It's actually my brain as well, I'm pretty sure. And I haven't even taken Benadryl. I can't take Benadryl. I don't know if you are like that or not, but if I take Benadryl, I need to stay home because it makes me feel like my head is on a string at like 6 feet above my own body. It's nuts. So anyway, like I said, that wraps it up for projects, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about last weekend because which was this very last weekend. We went to the Sheep to Shawl Festival in our town here in Salem, and I took my camera and I ended up taking like less than 10 pictures, I think. I was a very bad podcaster, blogger. There just wasn't a lot happening, to be honest, especially in the way of vendors. There was that's what I was really hoping for, was lots of vendors. I wanted to buy some new yarn. But there were 4 vendors in total. 2 of them were yarn and fiber vendors. One of them was an older husband and wife couple, and it was all hand spun, and he was the spinner. It's all hand spun natural alpaca, and it was beautiful. It was really, really pretty, and also really not my thing. So I didn't buy any of that, but I did look at it and I touched it a lot and told him how lovely it was, because it was. Hey, kitty. Got my cat over there. There was one indie dyer, and I'm not gonna say who it was because it doesn't matter, but their prices were unreasonable. We'll just say that. And I know how much independently dyed yarn can cost. I have cabinets full of it, but this was unreasonable. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. There was also a soap vendor who I asked him what he used to fragrance his soaps, and he said, "Oh, just natural stuff. I don't use any chemicals at all." Let that sink in for a minute. And I asked him what he thought of the air that we breathe and the water that we drink, and reminded him that everything is made of chemicals. Everything is made of chemical compounds. He protested, and I giggled, and I walked away because science. Oh God. Listen, just because it's natural doesn't mean it's safe. And just because there aren't any synthetic products or synthetic dyes or fragrances in your product doesn't mean there's no chemicals in it. There's chemicals in it. Everything's a chemical. H2O. Okay? Everything. So anyway, it just gets me when people say, "Oh, we don't have any chemicals at all in our product." Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Moving on, then there was a lady with a bunch of really beautiful jewelry, handmade by women in Peru, women and families. Her business, and I think it was her and her husband that have the business. They work with they work directly with several indigenous families in Peru, and 100% of the profits from their sales go back to those families. So that's really awesome. I like supporting that kind of a thing. My work is really big about supporting that kind of thing, and I like that personally as well. So my sweetie decided that I needed a necklace that the lady had, and that is what you see right here. It's this beautiful, beautiful heart. I think that it's dyed howlite. I'm not 100% sure, but it's really beautiful. It's a stone of some sort that's been cut and polished, and it's really lovely. And also earrings. I'll show you the earrings. Now, here's the thing. It's made from an alloy metal, and my ears are very princess-like. Here's the little. So they're super cute. Cute little hearts. Can I get my face out of there so you can see? Anyway, well, whatever. My sensitive ears are, I wore them for a day and my ears are like, we're so angry at you. So I can wear them. I just have to wear them once in a blue moon, and I have to take them out after just a short time. Or leave them in and not try to keep putting them in and out because my ears get really sore. I don't like that, but they're beautiful and I love them, and I especially love this because it's like kind of a collar shape, which I love in jewelry, and I love it. I am a lucky lady. We ended up wandering around for a while. In the main hall area, there was a circle of women and a couple of men all spinning on their spinning wheels. And what I noticed from that was that all of them were over 60, I promise. And they were all spinning straight yarn, which is great. It would have been really cool to see some younger people, some people of color, maybe, I don't know, other varying kinds of people. These were all white. They're all white people with just, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying I like to see diversity in the fiber arts. This isn't just for white people, and it isn't just for old people. And it's not just for straight yarn. There was nobody doing any kind of art yarns or anything like that. I would have really liked to have seen that. Maybe I'll go next year and I'll be the crazy black sheep spinning up some nutty boucle with beads in it or something, you know? That'd be fun. My town is just way too conservative. So what are you going to do? It was cool to see them working still. It was awesome. There was a woman there. She was demonstrating her blending board and her drum carder. And I don't know that she understood the extent to which she could use her tools. Everything was plain wool. And, you know, I thought at first it's just for demonstration purposes. She's just showing how these things work. But I asked her a couple of different questions, and she was like, no, that's not what you use these for. That's not what this is for. And it's like, oh, but it is, though. I have these things. This is what it is. Well, I don't have a drum carder, but I have a blending board, and I know exactly how to use it. Anyway, she was a very nice lady. I just don't think she really knew all the fun that she could have with some sparkle and some silk. You know, it's like art bats and sparkle haven't yet occurred to my town. At the next table over, though, there was these women making the most beautiful art rugs from felt strips. I think they called it rug hooking. I think that's what it was. It's kind of like latch hook. It's like a latch hook tool, but you only bring it up just a little bit, and then you bring the next one up, and you just make these little loops. Anyway, it's like they were painting with it, though. They were making these images, these gigantic rug-shaped images with birds and trees and just using different colors of felt, and it was fantastic. And I probably stood there for way too long just going, oh my God, I don't need another god dang hobby. But it was really beautiful. It was really awesome to see that. Next over, there was a table full of women making beautiful, beautiful baskets from pine needles, just weaving the pine needles and weaving them with some kind of a thread, maybe a waxed thread of some sort. They smelled like beeswax, but they assured us that there was no beeswax in the product at all, and they couldn't figure out why, and they thought it was just the pine smell, but it smelled really sweet and beeswaxy to me. It was really great. And some of these baskets were amazing. Some of them were big, heavy, thick, kind of cordy looking baskets, and others were very, very delicate, like little vases, and they kind of had the little neck on them like a little vase. They were really fascinating. It was really cool to watch that. Next over there, oh, kitty, 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 get out of there. Oh, my cat. Anyway, we'll deal with it later. There was looms, a whole bunch of different kinds of looms. You had tabletop looms and looms that stood up straight and just went just this way, and looms that went this way. And I mean, I don't even know all the different types of looms there were, but there was lots of them. At the very end of this table, there was this woman who was hilarious. We stood and talked to her for a while, and she was hilarious, and she was super informative, and she had this gorgeous loom, and it was just a stand-up, like, okay, look, I'm not a weaver yet. I'm really baby weaving, so I don't know the terms for all these things yet, but this loom was very simple and primitive, and it was made 100% from copper pipes and fittings. This thing looked like it jumped right off of a steampunk airship. It was awesome, and she was weaving on it, and she gave me a card, and I'm so sorry I don't have that card with me, but it had the information on where you could find the pattern for this thing. Maybe I'll try and post that in the notes below if I remember. I'll remember. I will. But it was really, really cool. Really awesome, and good to know that you can build your own loom for really, really cheap from, you know, Lowe's or Home Depot. Now, don't go to Home Depot. That's a dreadful place. There was a woman on an inkle loom, and she was using the card method, and I don't know if it's just called card weaving. Maybe it's card weaving. She was trying to figure out how it worked. Like, she'd seen it done, but had never actually done it, or was just starting out, and it was really fun to watch her. I think we made her a little bit nervous, but she was really adorable and super chatty, and it was fun to watch. And the card was, it was fun watching people walk by and look at her, and she'd just get a little more nervous and a little more nervous. But people were like, what in the world is that? We've never heard of that before. It was pretty cool. So there was a woman at the very end dressed in, like, I guess I'm going to call it pioneer garb. It looked like pioneer days. Like, there was a bunch of kids and a bunch of people that worked there at the mill and other volunteers and stuff, all dressed in these, like, sort of Little House on the Prairie kind of pioneer days, pinafores with their calico dresses and their bonnets. It was super cute. But she was sitting there with this magnificent floppy Angora rabbit just perched on the table next to her, not going anywhere, like not trying to freak out and get away. And kids were coming by and petting it. And it was just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to hang out on my table. And she was just spinning away, spinning the fabric. Spinning the fiber up. It was really soft and nice. So that was cool. Over in the next building, there was a tour of the mill and how it works. And it specifically didn't take you up to the weaving area. It took you through the carding area and the dyeing area. It was pretty neat. There was a kid there let's see what, there was a little boy, he was probably about 10 years old, and that he was standing next to a box of fiber and drop spindles, and it was there for people to kind of mess around with and play with. And I went over and I was, oh my gosh, I'm going to spin up some yarn while I'm here. So I'm doing that, and he's like, do you know how to use that? And I was like, yeah. He's like, how do you do it? So I was showing him how to do it. And he had this great little free impromptu lesson on how to use a drop spindle, so that was cool. His dad had never picked one of these up. This is his first time at a fiber festival. He'd never picked up a drop spindle. He didn't even really know what it was for. And yet he kept trying to mansplain over the top of me what I was explaining already to his kid. Now, thankfully, this kid was wise enough to have already figured out how to silently eye roll dad and tune him out. It's a handy skill, you know, that you can have if you've got a mansplainer for a dad. I would know. Anyway, there was a few animals outside. There was some, sorry, I'm getting scratchy and I don't have anything to drink. My kingdom for a beverage. Anyway, there were a couple of alpacas and some Angora goats, which Angora goats produce mohair. So there's this Angora goat there with just absolutely beautiful. And I didn't realize how long their hair was, but his hair was like as long as his whole body. It was pretty crazy. It was probably, I bet it was 10 or 12 inches long. It was really, really long. It was really beautiful. Actually, he was filthy. He was not very beautiful, but he would be had he been washed or coated or whatever. But he was kind of a wreck, kind of filthy. It looked like he'd been rolling in the mud. There was some sheep. And, you know, ultimately, that's kind of all there was. That's what there was there. It was fun overall. We had a good time. We didn't stay for terribly long, probably an hour, hour and a half. I would have liked to have seen more fiber vendors and yarn vendors, indie dyers and stuff like that. But, you know, it's a small town. What are you going to do? That's it for today. So thanks for stopping by and listening to me ramble. Do check out my Ravelry group and join us. You're going to want to get in on this one, you guys. I have a feeling it's going to get really big, and I'm really excited about it. And as soon as we get a couple of handfuls of people, I want to start doing giveaways and contests and knit-alongs and spin-alongs and make-alongs and all kinds of stuff. So super excited about that. Come join the Ravelry group, Love of the Dark Fiber Arts Ravelry group on Ravelry. And I hope to see you next week. If you like my podcast, give me a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. You know, every little bit helps. I'd like this thing to grow and grow, and that'd be really awesome. So yeah, have a great week. We'll see you next time. Thanks for coming by. Woo!